All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody, depending on where you're at. We were actually looking at the attendee list and noticed that we had people from California all the way to through Europe and all over Europe and Asia on this call. So very, very happy to be presenting and talking here about OroCRM plus Zendesk. My name is Jari Carter. I'm a co-founder here at OroCRM, and I'm really excited to welcome here with us Laura Pappas, who is the head of retail and e-commerce marketing from Zendesk. So welcome, Laura. We're going to hear from her today. And then we'll also hear from Brandon Briggs, who's our business development manager here at OroCRM. So let me walk you all through the agenda of our meeting today. We are going to do a few things. First, we're going to just introduce OroCRM and Zendesk. We're going to do that very briefly because we hope that you already have a little bit of a sense of who we are, but we just want to set the primer. The second thing we're going to do is we're going to turn it to Laura, who's really going to give us the retail industry view, and particularly around e-commerce businesses within the retail industry and a customer service perspective there. We're going to talk through a case study. So we actually have Derek Jameson, CTO of Pick Your Plum, with us, and I'm going to walk through their case study using OroCRM and Zendesk, and then we're going to actually go through a product demonstration here at the very end. So with that, let's just jump right in. I will also say just a quick housekeeping item. We are hoping to have some time for a little bit of Q&A at the end. You're welcome to write your questions in the chat as we go through the webinar, and please write down your questions and we'll try to get to them in the end. What we don't get to in the end, though, we will follow up with you individually. That's the beauty of GoToWebinar. So anyway, I want to start by introducing OroCRM. I can't really introduce our company without really introducing the problem that we were trying to solve when we started this business. And Yoav, Dima, and I left Magento back in 2012, and really sort of had this realization that there was no CRM for multi-channel businesses, and no CRM had really been built from the ground up for a multi-channel business, and that was creating a lot of friction, particularly for businesses that sold online or businesses that had multiple both sales and communication channels. They just really didn't have a CRM that fit their needs. On top of that, there was no flexible, reliable, and open business platform for creating these types of applications, for being creative in creating these types of custom applications. And so out of that, OroCRM was born. And since we've launched, now it's been a little over a year now. Since we've launched, we've had incredible momentum. We've had over 280,000 unique site visitors. The product's been downloaded over 35,000 times. We have over 1,500 active OroCRM customers, both community and enterprise, which we're very excited about. So the thesis that we started with has really been validated with market momentum, which is always what you want. And really the key problem that we're solving, and really the key value that we really provide on top of or with a flexible CRM, is the ability to have a single view of your customers across business channels. So that could be on the left-hand side of the screen. You see all the purchase information, whether you sell on marketplaces, whether you sell in store, whether you have a B2B sales channel, whether you have an e-commerce channel. And then on the other side is all the customer interactions. And those are going to be, that's what we're going to focus on today, is the idea of all these different interactions that you have with your customers, really being able to get a single view of your customer across these business communications and sales channels is really what we found that customers were struggling with, and we've been able to provide here. So I'm just going to advance the slide here. And once you have this single view of customer, this really benefits two distinct organizations. So first is your sales organization, and the sales organization now, once they have that single view of customer, they can understand exactly who their customer is. So if they're on a customer service call, or if they're doing an outbound call to a customer about certain products, they understand exactly who that customer is. They understand what they've purchased. They understand what their issues and concerns have been. They understand, what offers that they've responded to in the past. So they can have a much clearer and more robust conversation with that customer now that they really understand who they are. And the second group that this was created for was marketing folks. So now that a marketing person has all of this single view of customer, they can start to create very robust customer segments. So they can segment customers based on all kinds of data that matters to them. And what we found is that every single business is unique. Every single business has unique customer segments that they want to create, and so product flexibility for us was absolutely key. And we'll talk a little bit about that as we go through the product demonstration today, that product flexibility and being able to create exactly what you want. But before we do that, I want to pass it over to Laura, who's going to introduce Zendesk and also give their perspective on creating amazing customer experiences. Laura?
My name is Laura Pappas, and I'm here as the head of retail and e-commerce marketing for Zendesk. Thanks for taking the time today to learn more about our company. I first want to provide a little bit of a background on who we are and where we want to take your customer service and how we can help you get there. We're all customers of a lot of brands, and we've all had a lot of experiences, horror stories that we remember with families, friends, and you can probably think back on companies you yourself have had experiences with. So maybe take a second. Who comes to mind? If you had a bad Amazon experience, a great Amazon experience, what do you do? How do you respond when somebody offers you great customer service? So this is the genesis of Zendesk. So for 6 years, and we have built a customer base of over 50,000. We are continuing to re-architect our product, and we try to meet the changing consumer expectations and business demands. We're trying to help companies to pivot towards customers first. All of us are customers, and we want to make that experience as smooth as possible. To put it really simply, Zendesk is software for better customer service. So let's start with who we help out with this customer service proposition. Zendesk is a global company. We have our 50,000 plus customers are spread over 140 countries, and we work with a range of customers. We've worked with hypergrowth startups like Uber's and large multinational companies, and we have a real special place in our heart for our retail e-commerce customers. They come in all types and sizes. We have subscription and flash sale models that are sort of a little bit more unique coming into the world, whether they're selling subscription, food, clothing, underwear, all sorts of things, to your traditional omni-channel retailers. Over the past few years, we've seen a lot happen in this space. Customer expectations have changed a lot. We're now in a world where the customer service that someone receives can really define, make or break your company. People are looking for things to be instantaneous. They want to know what's happening when and where. They want it all personalized to them on every single device. And in this world now, your Yelp review could take down your business or give it a cult following. That's the foundation of our product strategy. We built Zendesk with users in mind. We want to make agents more productive in their day-to-day workflow, surface relevant business insights to managers to predict trends and plan, and make a really beautifully simple customer support experience for those customers with their changing needs. Jari referred to this a little bit earlier, but the single view of the customer. Zendesk collects all your customer conversations from various channels in one place so you can communicate with your customers most effectively wherever they are. At a high level, the product needs to support the customer service journey, starting with customer support, where you're just resolving customer issues, answering questions as they arise. You and your customer base will grow, and you're going to need to scale that support. That, in our world, we support that with enabling customer self-service, helping customers find and discover information on their own. In a little bit, I'm going to show you about some trends in that area specifically. Eventually, there comes a time when you're going to need to engage your customers more directly in a way that's going to focus less on support and more around long-term conversations and relationships. Ultimately, this journey of going from just simple customer support to truly being engaged with your customers is going to transform your business. It enables you to empower your agents to provide a smooth experience through a single interface that connects all of your customers' communication channels. We want to empower your customers to be an active participant in this business and build a community of evangelists and loyalists, and drive the impacts of that business loyalty through lower customer effort, which we're going to explore. That lower effort is going to fuel the ongoing feedback loop with your customers. So let's take a minute and explore the relationship between customer effort and your business. So we've done some work with the Corporate Executive Board. They did a study with over 125,000 customers, 5,000 reps, and over 100 companies to really understand what customers are looking for in that service experience. There's a little bit of a misperception that if a customer receives an experience that's below their expectations, they're going to be extremely unloyal, and that if we exceed their expectations, they're going to really make a big difference in our business drivers. And the truth is that most of the time customers really just want their question answered. It's pretty straightforward. Delight is going to happen very rarely and has a really high cost. So here's the real question. Do your customers even want to be delighted? More than anything, your customers, and all of us as customers, we want our time to be respected. So in some recent surveys with Forrester, they found that valuing their time is the most important thing that a customer can do to provide good customer service. And as part of that exploration of time, people who are shopping and they can't find an answer to their question, they're gonna abandon that process and that purchase more than half the time. Companies know this. This is no surprise what I'm telling you. This is not a secret. 90% of customers surveyed by Forrester view customer service as a top priority. A lot of companies use customer experience as a differentiator. Think about a Nordstrom, an LL Bean, a Zappos, making a difference by with statements like the customer is always right, free returns all the time. So what is it that's going to make that a good customer service interaction? So we did some research with dimensional data last year and found that, tying back into the research we saw on time, the most important thing to our customers is that the problem is resolved quickly. It doesn't hurt if the person's nice. Very important that they don't want to be passed around. All of us have experienced that. We want to get in, get our problem addressed, and actually at the end of the day, we just want the outcome that we originally came for. So I think this is actually my favorite slide in the whole presentation. This is very new data that just came out this January, showing that self-service is now the most popular channel in customer service. It has edged out phone, and you see an acceleration in other channels like chat and social. But what this means is that your customers really want to find the answers on their own. The most interesting thing about this statistic is that it's not just in younger customers. People might say, yeah, that's fine, but that's millennials. It's actually in all age groups, including older baby boomers and even the golden generation. So how do we quickly resolve customer needs We want to get answers through most frequently asked questions, through knowledge bases. At Zendesk, we call it our help center, and that's how we meet the self-service need. When it comes to phone, which is still a very popular channel, 40% of callers have actually already searched for the answers. So what about some of the other channels? Generally speaking, conversion on an online shopping site is relatively low and standard and has been for years, that during that single visit, you'll get anywhere from 1% to 3% of people that actually convert and make the purchase in that site visit. This is not taking into consideration people who are researching online and then going to the store, or might come back to the site a couple of times. So we're talking in that initial visit. However, we actually engage that customer, say they've looked there for their information through a knowledge base or a help center, and they still need some support. When we engage through chat, it is the most effective channel out there. Customers who chat convert at nearly 3.5 times the rate of those who don't, and they even have an increased order size. So I'm going to take a moment and give an example of a shared customer of Zendesk and OroCRM, Pick Your Plum, who's utilizing the integration between Oro and Zendesk to create an effortless customer experience. So right here we've got Rebecca. Rebecca's from Salt Lake City. She ordered a set of dessert spoons and bowls for her family. Most of her order, she was very pleased with the order overall. But there was a broken item in the shipment. This is not uncommon. And different companies handle it different ways. Suzanne, the CSR for Pick Your Plum, is very pleasant, but most importantly, she's very quick to respond, and she's respectful of Rebecca's time. Rebecca responds with a positive Net Promoter Score and even manages to comment that she shared her success with her family. It's this type of effortless customer experience that leads to positive company buzz on channels like Pinterest. Pick Your Plum, this was a great job, so thank you. And I'm going to hand it over to Jari, who's going to walk us through a case study.
Great. Well, thank you very much, Laura. I really appreciate the presentation. I know when we first saw some of this data, we were really excited about sort of what we had built, because we had really built around this thesis that customers want an effortless customer experience, and that actually really does drive conversion to create this effortless customer experience. And with all the data that Zendesk has really spent a lot of time putting together, it really validated that for our team as we went through this. I'm going to continue down the theme of pick your plum. We don't want to pick on them, but you know, as Laura mentioned, they do an incredible job with this, and we wanted to share them as a case study. We are really pleased to have, as I mentioned at the beginning, Derek Jameson, who's the CTO of Pick Your Plum, with us today. I'm sure he'd be happy to answer any you know, a couple of individual questions, maybe not on this call, but in follow-up through email. And I am so happy that he's really allowed us to tell their story. Pick Your Plum, just to give you a little bit of background, they started just a few short years ago as a daily deal site, offering deals on women's fashion accessories, home decor, party and crafting supplies. They offer incredibly high-quality items at up to 75% off retail prices in an e-commerce environment. I can tell you, if you're looking for any of these items, go to Pick Your Plum. We have bought, in our household, we have bought lots of Pick Your Plum items, and everything has been fantastic. And on top of this, they are highly focused on customer service. In fact, if you go to their website, it is the very first part of their mission statement is they want to provide rockin' customer service. That's number one. Number two is they want to create smiles, which they absolutely do. And there on the list is they want to create a company worth telling your best friend about. Having worked with them for a while now, we know how deeply they care about their customer experience, and it is this overall experience that really brought them the initial success that they had. So this initial their initial wave of success was created by their one, having high quality products at a low price, but two, being very responsive to their customers. And as they grew and scaled, they really didn't want to lose that personal understanding of who their customer was and what they were doing. Enter OroCRM and Zendesk. Now, as they grew, they were collecting data from many, many sources, and they actually found themselves collecting more and more data across lots of different sources. The most important sources of customer data, at least for the phase one of their implementation, was Zendesk plus Magento. Magento was their e-commerce store. So we went to work with those two specific data sources to really help them start to understand who their customers were and what potential challenges were before they became customer issues. So we went to work. They told us that they had really three key areas where they wanted to see data and have it segmented. And this was actually an incredibly smart way, and they came up with this all on their own. But here is what they cared about. One, they cared about aggregated metrics. So they wanted to see metrics in aggregate about their business. The second thing they wanted to see was just customer trends and actually relationships between certain trends, correlations between trends in their business. And then the third thing they wanted to see was they wanted to be able to drill down to individual customers and create customer segments. So let's look at that first one, which is the aggregated metrics. So in the aggregated metrics, they wanted to first be able to see top customer service issues. This is so that they could actually journey map and point out friction areas. So once you have the ability to see what the top customer service issues are, you actually see friction areas in the customer journey in the aggregate, and you can start to fix those issues and resolve those issues. And that's exactly what they wanted to do, was proactively resolve any issues that their customers were facing, any blockers to conversion, any place where customers had to, as Laura talked about, had to create more effort than was worth. And then the other three things were being able to see customer lifetime value and average orders per customer and average time between orders. This was so that they could start to make valuable business decisions based on real monetary factors about how to profitably interact with customers. So they really, once they had this data, they were able to start to sort of see and understand who their customers were and what the value of a customer was to them long term, so that they could make investment decisions around customers. The second thing that they wanted to do was be able to analyze trends. The first thing was hot customer service issues. You realize for a company that really puts customer service as one of their key values, that being able to see this is very, very important, so that they really wanted to understand if they were having issue maybe with a certain product, or maybe perhaps something on the website wasn't working properly, that they could resolve that very, very quickly. If there was some trending hot customer service issue, Derek and his team wanted to really be able to resolve that. And then the second thing that they wanted to see from a relationship trend standpoint is really the relationship between high needs customers and the lifetime value of those customers. So these customers that had sort of repeated needs, issues, concerns, were they also the high lifetime value customers as well, and that allowed them to sort of see and make certain business decisions around growth. The last one I'll talk about is the focus on individuals, and this for Derek and team was critical because as they grew and scaled, they did not want to lose a personal touch and a personal feel with their customers. So they wanted, at first pass, they wanted to be able to understand who were their high needs customers, who are their frequent purchasers, who are their high-value customers, and who are their idle customers after a CSR interaction. Now, even with a team like Pick Your Plum who's deeply customer focused, as we went through and actually showed some of this data, there were lots of surprises and actually aha moments as they were able to see, you know, who the high value customers were, who these specific customers were, and not only that, they're now able to take these segments, take these segmented customers, and actually create personalized follow-ups and reach out to these customers in a personalized way, based on the fact that now they have them segmented in a specific way. So you can imagine all the, and I hope your imagination is sort of working for your business, that if you had an understanding of who your high-value customers are, could you now create maybe some kind of customer council or a high-value customer group or a VIP group? If you understood who your high-needs customers were, could you proactively reach out to them and help them understand all of the tools for resolving potential issues? If you understood which customers went idle after a CSR interaction, could you reach out to them and maybe find out if they had a bad interaction, maybe incent them to come back and purchase, tell them you want them back? All of these things, this focus on the individual, will allow you to sort of create these segments and in what seems to be like a very personal way to the customer, reach out to them, follow up, bring them back, help them with the things they need in a very effortless, proactive way. Derek and his team just have done a great job sort of articulating this issue and how they wanted the problem solved. We really appreciate that. Derek's feedback to us as we went through this implementation was, OroCRM is enabling us to consolidate data sources, track key performance indicators to get meaning from the noise. With Oro, we can see our customers, and that is exactly what we want to try to help customers do. So with that, we want to be done talking and we want to start showing. So I'm going to turn it over to Brandon Briggs, our Business Development Manager, who's actually going to walk through a use case of Zendesk and OroCRM connected together. Brandon?
Perfect, Jari. Thanks for the intro. We've kind of heard a lot of different things, and one of the things that Laura and Jari both kind of pointed out is just the ability to pull data in from these multiple channels, and there's a lot of channels that are out there. Channels, whether it's social media channels or whether it's places on your site or emails or phone calls. There's a lot of potential channels where customer service and other interactions can take place. We don't have enough time to show you all of those today, but one that we were really wanting to focus on was just in terms of kind of that self-service model, and then engaging with a customer service rep via chat or via the website. So in order to do that, we want to kind of walk through maybe a customer's journey and what their experience might be in terms of going through that. Talk a little bit about connecting Oro and Zendesk, and then show how those Zendesk tickets that are created map into OroCRM as cases. And ultimately kind of form part of that 360-degree customer view or single customer view that we mentioned earlier. And then in the end, kind of go through the reporting capabilities as well and show you, how powerful the data is connected together. So to start that, we've got our Magento demo site here, right? So we have a customer Jennifer who's browsing the site, looking to make a purchase, and potentially has some questions, right? And one of the things that Zendesk does really well is they provide some code for their embeddable widget. In terms of that widget, one of the areas here, typically you see a lot of live chat features down here in the corner. Zendesk takes it a step further and actually shows you in terms of help articles, but also allowing you to engage in live chat. So Jennifer comes onto the site here while browsing a product. Maybe she has a question and she starts searching for promotions, for example. What promotions are available, for example. So as she starts to type this, you can see what's happening here is kind of that self-service model where as she's asking the question, relevant data is actually coming directly onto the screen. She doesn't have to leave here to see, oh yeah, I was actually looking for this particular promotion. She can gather some information directly on that page about the specific promotion. And the story goes on, right, based on other criteria. And of course, the better the question, the better the criteria will be here. Now, let's say she has a different question. Maybe she's looking at, for example, shoes, and she has a question in terms of, what shoe sizes are available, or if they have, narrow or wide shoe sizes, for example. Or she searched for something and doesn't see any specific results for that question. Or let's say she had results, but ultimately she wanted to engage with a representative as well to get her questions answered that way. One of the ways you can do that is actually through the live chat that's here. So if we come in here, maybe we can type a question. Let's say, can you tell me about shoe sizes? Whatever the question might be, right? She starts a chat with a representative. Now, internally, inside of Zendesk, of course, what you're going to see is, you've got your Zendesk instance pulled up, and your customer service team is actually, engaged answering tickets. But one of the things we see is actually this live chat is actually coming directly into into Zendesk here. So we have some communication back and forth, maybe sure thing. We try to answer her question. Of course, in the end, hopefully we get to some sort of a resolution. Maybe she she leaves us a comment, rates the chat, whatever it might be here. And then in the end, of course, let's say we've actually now ended this particular chat with Jennifer, who's our customer. Upon ending that chat, we actually take and form a ticket within Zendesk here. And so you can see in the entire chat history is all labeled here. Maybe we actually give it a different title, chat with Jennifer Paxton, about shoe sizes. Now, in our case here, maybe there wasn't any specific follow-up that was needed, and we could actually take and mark this as a solved, ticket, or we leave it open if there was further, further things that needed to take place. So, you're most of you are probably pretty familiar with kind of the Zendesk workflow in terms of how that works, and whether it comes in from that embeddable widget via chat, as we just showed, or via another method like social media or phone or email. That information, as it gets centralized here within Zendesk, and you use Zendesk to manage those, they also do a number of other things and can be transferred down directly into OroCRM. So transitioning over to OroCRM, one of the things that we we'll want to talk about is actually first just getting Zendesk connected to OroCRM. It's actually a fairly simple process. We have an extension that's been released for Zendesk, so if you actually visit our marketplace from our website here, you can see we've got the Zendesk integration, and we actually have this, this little path here that you can copy to your clipboard. And as you do that, installation of that particular extension is pretty straightforward in terms of, bringing that in and actually going through the installation process for installing the extension. Now, once installed, and if you have questions in terms of installing that, feel free to reach out. We've got a great team that answers questions on the forums, as well as a great partner network who could certainly help you do that as well. But it is a fairly straightforward process. And as you get that connected, one of the things that you can do here, of course, is come in and actually just configure that particular integration. Configuring the integration is actually pretty simple as well. We, in our instance here, we've got Zendesk already configured. So if you take a look here, well, what you're going to see is, our configuration with Zendesk already set up, including the ability to support a two-way sync and push tickets to and from Zendesk, as well as comments. And then down below here, what you see is we're just getting a pretty basic trail of what's actually happened in the background. And by default, we actually synchronize with Zendesk by, every 5 minutes and bring that information back and forth. That can be configured and changed, and could be every 1 minute, could be every 30 minutes, just based off your customer or your your particular need. So now that we've got this data connected, there's a couple things that we could do. One, we could actually manually go through and schedule a sync process, get those tickets, coming back and forth. But where the real power starts to come in is, let's go over to this contact here. And as we load these OroCRM contacts, let's do a quick search for Jennifer and see if we can find her real quick. Come down here. Once the search has been performed, you can come see, okay, looks like there's Jennifer Paxton. Let me click on her particular contact here and open up her customer account within Oro. So, of course, we've got some basic information on Jennifer here in our CRM, things like social media information potentially, what account she belongs to, multiple addresses, our complete communication trail in terms of activities with Jennifer. But the one thing to start to notice here is down below, this chat that we had, this ticket that we were just placed in Zendesk is actually here synchronized into her contact view. We can click on this, open it up, and get all the additional details. If we just do that real quick, again, what you're going to see is here's all the information and trail that we just went through. It is has been assigned here. We can see which account it relates to, and have all this information still within Oro automatically. So let's click on her account. The account view looks like Jennifer actually belongs to a company account that we have inside of OroCRM and has other coworkers essentially in here with her as well. The account view is this one area where we start to really aggregate all of these data sources. So things like easily calculating a multi-channel lifetime sales value, for example, that's in here. Keeping track of all of our communication activities, logging emails, sending phone calls, or logging calls, sending emails, sorry, adding tasks and doing those type of things. That's all available here, of course, within the CRM. And as we continue to scroll down and get this 360-degree view of our customer, what we see is, again, here's this case, right? That case is associated back to her account as well, and we're, pretty easily we can, dive in here again, manage this, see this, and this information is all paired up with sales information, any leads and opportunities, if you're a B2B business. In our case here, Magento order data is actually coming in, including shopping carts. If there's an abandoned shopping cart, and a lot of times we see that tickets actually, a lot of tickets come with questions of items that they have in their shopping cart. So being able to have all of this data kind of aggregated into one place really starts to give you a single view of your customer across other channels, not just support and related channels that way. A few other things we have here, things like RFM analysis, scoring customers, trying to make sure we understand which of our customers are the best customers, and how we can work with them. Now, that's in terms of the account view. Of course, within OroCRM, we have grids for just about anything you can look for. So in terms of case management, we've got a grid for that as well. So you can see we have access to that case here. Because that case is assigned to my particular user, I can always go into my user's profile here as well. And that case, all those cases actually that are assigned to me show up within my user profile. So there's a lot of usability features here that you could take advantage of and be able to use. But the real power in terms of connecting all this data, in my mind, actually comes in the reporting and segmentation capabilities that you now have within OroCRM. Now, OroCRM comes with a number of reports, built in by default, but the most relevant reports are going to be those custom reports using our report builder that you can get in and create. Here's a few examples of some custom reports that we've created just on the fly here. Things like average order value by U.S. state. This one's a more specific to the e-commerce channel, but you can see, our average order values in this demo data is actually really high. We can see that by state and be able to identify which states are, the most applicable for us. Now, combining the, the Zendesk data together with all of the other channel data that we have in OroCRM, we're able to do some other things as well. Here's a report, unresolved cases with open opportunities. So this report, interestingly enough, is just a report that we created. It was a quick report, nothing too fancy, but what it shows you here is cases that are open or in progress that either have an open B2B opportunity and what that budget is, or a shopping cart that's been opened. And so it's just a way, one kind of creative way that you could actually reach out, target customers who are having support issues that look like they're in the funnel, toward the bottom part of that funnel to actually make a purchase. Again, I mentioned that these reports are actually quite simple to make. If we just hit edit on this report, you're going to be taken directly over to our report builder. Inside of the report builder, you're going to have all the functions here. Let's say you wanted to add an additional field. You could very easily come down and add a case-related field or another field that's related to that. And then filters, right? Just adding filters and being able to filter out the data as applicable. So in terms of reporting, that's where a lot of the functionality and benefit that you'll see will come from connecting both of these data sources. Best customers by RFM score is another one. Open support cases by RFM score. So understanding who our best customers are and what support cases that they have open. So there's a lot of things that you can do, here within OroCRM and that connected to Zendesk that really start to make sense. Empower your customer service and sales team to make better decisions. And really, OroCRM and Zendesk together give you both kind of a powerful tool set to being able to better manage your customer interactions, and in the end, hopefully make happier and more loyal customers. Jari, I'll send it back to you.
Fantastic. I feel like I'm at the anchor desk here, so thank you very much, Brandon, for showing us the demo. We have just a couple minutes left. We are committed to getting everybody out of here by 9:45 Pacific time, but I just want to pause and see if there are any questions. I haven't seen any questions come in through the chat. If you have any questions, please ask those now. And while please feel free to ask those in the chat. We'll answer them. Brandon, one of the topics that comes up quite often, and just given you've been involved in a number of these, maybe you can answer it, is how long really does the connection between OroCRM and Zendesk really take? I mean, you sort of walked us through that really quickly, but can you give us just a sense for the in-depthness of the connection while people are writing questions here? From just an hour standpoint, I'm sure a lot of people would like to know that.
Yeah, absolutely. It is a question that does come up, pretty frequently. It honestly does not take much time. So, the largest portion, in my mind, is actually just getting the extension installed. Once that extension's installed, which really doesn't take, you saw the process there. It was actually quite straightforward. I would say, maybe plan an hour for that or something like that. You could certainly go through the package manager that we have and we showed there, but you can also install it kind of more on the, from a command line perspective. But once connected, it really is, it takes about a 5-minute process really just to bring your credentials over and get OroCRM syncing with Zendesk.
Okay, fantastic. Great. Well, that is really appreciated. Thank you, Brandon. Thanks to Laura and to the Zendesk team for participating with us. They've done a lot of work here. And thanks to all of you for attending today. If you do have questions, additional questions that you would like to ask, please feel free to reach out to me directly. You can reach me at Jari, J-A-R-Y, at orocrm.com, and I'll direct them to the right person, and we'll get you answers. Really appreciate. Oh, go ahead.
And I was going to say, Jari, we actually do have a few questions that are coming in. We certainly can, get those answered now or in the future. One of the questions that did come in is, during the demo, customer was not logged into Magento. How do we know it was Jennifer? I just want to make sure we answer a few of those.
Sure. Yeah. I don't see those, so you go ahead, take it away.
Absolutely. So, in terms of knowing it was Jennifer, that's just based off her previous interactions with us. So, in that little help widget there, there's a spot that you can actually just fill in your name and contact details. You could require that if you wanted to require it, or just kind of leave it open, and assign it that way. But how we knew it was Jennifer was, she had chatted with us previously. So that's probably the best answer I have for that, that question. Another question has come in, if there's no account or contact available in OroCRM, will it be created? Yes, it will. We still have the case that we want to, synchronize down into OroCRM. There might have to be some assigning that has to take place, but we can certainly look at doing that as well.
Perfect. Was there anything else, Brandon, or were those the two main questions?
There's another one that we've got here. It's a little longer. I'm actually trying to read through it right now. Looks like it actually deals with kind of registrations as well. So, in OroCRM, we do have the ability to, kind of capture both anonymous customer accounts or purchases, as well as, I should say guest purchases as well as other purchases. Even if a guest goes through and makes a purchase, we should still have some contact information that we can use as the basis to build an account in OroCRM. Even though, a lot of customers come in one time, they don't actually register for the shop, they will still be represented within OroCRM regardless of the fact that they have an account in Magento. So just want to point that out, and that looks like it brings us to the end of the questions.
Perfect. Thank you. I couldn't see those, so I really appreciate you walking us through and interrupting my final comments. If you do have any additional questions, or if we didn't answer what you wanted to know, please feel free to reach out to us. There's lots of ways to connect, and we'd love to get answers to your questions. With that, have a great day, and thanks for being on the call.